and our lights can go off about 1 week consistent. From we share boundaries with Bojisango in the Dansiasukwa. From that part, Abosamso, Samama, Insayemu, Tebeso, Freso, all those areas. Like, I don't know whether we are still part. The light off is so eminent.
In fear bebre chemuno na Ashanti chemuno of yenkani ansemu nyekra enei awrade ayadom yenya honorable energy minister ewa ha aniti the minister ne say nka obetimi enya eye empanifo bi no ma ba behwe Ashanti chemuno of na ye transform ansem ne yenkani ansem ewo ho e de aboaye.
And what the ministry is going to provide stable power supply to the people of Ashanti region and Swami in particular.
Major fault occurred on some underground cables that supplied power from Gridco to ECG at the Rich Bulk Supply Point substation in Kumasi.
Why you haven't identified this issue as an emergency issue and have not visited Kumasi as at now? Thank you.
Like I said, this week I would visit Kumasi to see for myself. We would continue to monitor the situation and to undertake emergency remedial measures when it becomes necessary.
I was in Kumasi over the weekend and the problem still persists.
Would you consider providing some announcement of a sort if you are not interested in a timetable?
When we have consistent deficit in power supply, it means that you have to shed load. And because there's a deficit and you are shedding load, in our local parlance, it is known as Dumsor.
Or whether it's Dumsor or Dumsor or Dum. Yes. What is your ministry doing to address this situation?
We are not shedding load. As we speak, we are even exporting 300 megawatts of power outside Ghana.
Situation. Can you give us some timelines so that we can inform our constituents? Because within the Odotobri enclave, Dumsor is something that we live with. At Jakobu, sometimes the lights go off and it takes days for the lights to come back.
Right. And I'm sorry that the previous administration couldn't hold what we left them, and as a result, you are going through 1 week of load shedding.
In Achumampunra, where you have about 538 communities, half of them, as I'm talking to you, their lights are not on.
ECG has a total liability of 13 billion.
From his continual lamentation is not the reason why he is a minister. Mr. Speaker,
some of the equipment ECG has procured, it will last them 10 years. 10 years. And yet some of the equipment will expire in 5 years.
He is suggesting that we should, the good people of Ashanti region, for that matter, Swami, should do their own timetable as he has said previously, or he will come with his own timetable.
We will get around this, and once we're able to clear those transformers, we shall undertake a massive transformer replacement exercise. And I assure you,
the region and Swami constituency in particular, and what the ministry is going to provide stable power supply to the people of Ashanti region and Swami in particular.
Yes, honorable member, honorable minister.
thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, let me thank my brother, Honorable John Daku, for this question. Mr. Speaker, the cause of the outage in Kumasi and in the Ashanti region are in two folds. Mr. Speaker, in December 2024, a major fault occurred on some underground cables that supplied power from Gridco to ECG at the Rich Bulk Supply Point substation in Kumasi. Unfortunately, there were no alternative routes to facilitate power evacuation and supply. What it meant is that in December 2024, when that major fault occurred, the system had not been configured to have an alternative route to allow power to evacuate it. And so from December through to January, there were several major challenges and outages in respect of supplying reliable power within that enclave. This went on and continued well into January, Mr. Speaker, and did not relent. And so, on assumption of office, this administration took urgent steps to replace approximately 3 kilometers of faulty lines on that section in order to ameliorate the challenge. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to announce that since those repairs were completed, power supply to that area has improved tremendously and significantly. We will continue to monitor the situation and to undertake emergency remedial measures when it becomes necessary. Mr. Speaker, on the Ashanti region and the challenges thereof, the demand has increased, which means that some additional work ought to have been undertaken in order to be able to absorb the increasing demand. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to announce that in mid-February of this year, Gridco has completed a 145 MVA transformer at the Angumaso bulk supply point. This has also improved power supply situation in Kumasi and reduced the need to shed load from the Rich substation. Mr. Speaker, I intend to visit Kumasi within this week to see for myself the extent of work and to commission that major bulk supply point. We are also undertaking some additional works to strengthen the network, make it more resilient, and ensure that we are able to supply safe, reliable, and consistent power. In doing so, Mr. Speaker, Gridco is working to increase transformer capacity in the region. ECG is constructing a double circuit tower line from Angumasu BSP to the airport substation. ECG is also upgrading 14 capacity transformers. New substations, when completed, would interconnect various areas such as Buankra, Banka, Adanse Asokwa, and Asante Achim Agogo. All this would ensure that it provides us with the needed flexibility to be able to supply power. But in summary, Mr. Speaker, I wish to inform this House that the power situation within that enclave has improved and will continue to work to ensure that we bring about reliable supply of power. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honourable John Dako, any supplementary question?
Yeah, thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. By way of follow-up, Honourable Minister, are you able to give the people of Ashanti region, and especially my constituency, the timelines within which this problem will be resolved? Because I was in Kumasi over the weekend, and the problem still persists. I know that you've taken the steps to resolve the problem. Are you able to give us the timelines within which this problem will be solved completely?
Yes, Honourable.
I'll be surprised to hear that the situation has not improved, because the report I get indicates that the situation has improved. I've asked for the supply reliability report, at least for this week. It will tell us the outages and the consistent supply of power. When we get those data, I'll be willing to engage my colleague, and that together we would address whatever challenges that occur. But like I said, I intend to visit Kumasi within the week. So, Mr. Speaker, with your permission, Mr. Dako may want to prepare to host me as a brother on my arrival. Thank you very much.
Yeah, John, thank you. Yes, Honourable Member for Tafo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to follow up and find out from the minister. From your answer, this issue has been persisting since December. I don't know, and you have assumed duty more than about a month ago. And I'm asking why you haven't taken a critical, why you haven't identified this issue as an emergency issue and have not visited Kumasi as at now. Thank you.
Yes, John.
Mr. Speaker, like I said, I identified it as an emergency issue, and that is why I commissioned ECG to install the additional bulk supply station, and also commissioned Gridco to hasten and complete the 145 MVA transformer. I got a report that they have completed it, and so like I said, this week I would visit Kumasi to see for myself the extent of completion. Whilst they were doing the work, what I thought I needed to do was to give them the logistical support and the needed support. Now that the work is complete, and they have reported to me that it's complete, and they did so last week, this week I will be visiting. Yesterday was a budget reading. Of course, I couldn't have gone yesterday. Today, this August House has summoned me to answer the questions. And so tomorrow, God willing, I should be able to visit Kumasi to see for myself the extent of completion, and I'll report back to my mother when I come back. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Esefua.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Old Tafo constituency shares some similarities with Swami. And of course, Old Tafo constituency...
Can you speak up? Can you speak up?
Old Tafo constituency shares some similarity with Swami. In fact, before 2004, it used to be one constituency. My question to you is that because some of these works affect businessmen and businesswomen, especially people who own cold store, would you consider providing some announcement of a sort if you are not interested in a timetable, some announcement of a sort, so that such businessmen and businesswomen would be able to prepare themselves adequately when such works are being done? Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, as far as I'm concerned, the ECG does periodic announcements when these challenges occur, and I recall directing them to intensify the announcements. What we intend to do is to move a notch further. We should be able to have a customer database with their telephone numbers of all these areas, such that beyond announcing on in the newspapers and on the radio stations, we can send messages to affected customers so that they'll be aware of the challenges. And so I take my honorable colleague's suggestion in very good faith. It's a laudable suggestion. We'll continue to intensify education, and as minister, Mr. Speaker, as minister for energy and green transition, and Mr. Speaker, you know that it was Ministry of Energy. Now I'm not just Minister of Energy, I'm Minister of Energy and Green Transition. So we would work very hard to ensure that we transition into an era of communication technology to address these challenges. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
You see the way your friends, Abena and Honorable, let me give the opportunity to the Ashanti members before I come to you. 1, 2, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful and also thankful to the Minister. Minister, I believe the Kumasi part is not only the Ashanti region we are looking at. I happen to have a unique problem. My constituency falls under 3 distinct districts. We have the Konongo ECG district, we have the Kontinase, and we have the Dubiase. Mr. Speaker, the major challenge we are having is with the Dubiase district. The district captures the entire Susu-Frehu zone in the Bosome-Frehu constituency, and our lights can go off about 1 week consistent from Mabos, we share boundaries with Bojisango in the Dansia Sukwa. From that part, Abosamswa, Samama, Insayemu, Tebeso, Freso, all those areas. Like, I don't know whether we are still part. The light-off is so eminent. So, Mr. Speaker, I am asking the minister if there is a particular reason. Is there Dumsor in that part of the area, or there's a particular reason? How is he going to deal with this matter to solve the power outages in the Susufrehu zone of the Bosumi
Thank you,
area?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, what I do know is that when we have consistent deficit in power supply, it means that you have to shed load. And because there's a deficit and you are shedding load, in our local parlance, it is known as Dumsor. So if you have a localized outage like you are saying, where the transformer is overloaded, and so it keeps tripping, you cannot come out with a load shedding timetable. You cannot do that. We are not shedding load. As we speak, we are even exporting 300 megawatts of power outside Ghana. It's true, you are right, that we inherited a run-down energy sector, near collapse, choking from debt, and with a very weakened infrastructure. And so, because of the work we did before we left office, now there's enough power and you can even export. But it's not enough. It's not enough to generate the power. When you generate the power, you have to evacuate it. When you evacuate it, you have to distribute it. The problem now is at the distribution end, where ECG's transformers are obsolete, outdated, or overloaded. And that is why you are having some of these major challenges. But Mr. Speaker, let me assure that under His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, and following the budget of yesterday, once we get approval, Mr. Speaker, we shall move into action mode and activate ourselves to deal with some of these challenges you are talking about. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, please. No, I'm just following up. No, you don't have that. So, Professor Nyako.
Honorable Speaker, our very good friend JJ, Honorable John Jenapo, in answering Honorable Bosumefriahon's question, partially answered my question that bordered on installed capacity and the exportation of electricity to our neighboring countries. Now, he has assured this House that we have enough capacity. My question to him is that, is there a scheduled maintenance regime put in place by the Energy Ministry or the ECG to ensure that we don't go through these periodic problems? Because if we have scheduled maintenance regime in place, then I'm thinking that such occurrences shouldn't happen. So that's my question, if we have such in place to deal with these challenges we are facing in the region. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Honorable, I hope you got his question. Okay.
Mr. Speaker, there are scheduled maintenance regimes and there are unscheduled outages. So when there's a scheduled maintenance regime, it means that ECG has prepared that on this date, between this time to that time, they will put the lights out and conduct some scheduled maintenance regime. In that case, they have to pre-inform the customers and to make public announcement. And I've seen several of those, even as minister, where ECG would announce that from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m., the following areas will be off for some maintenance regime. That is done. The other one is the unscheduled ones, where, like my good friend said, because the transformer is overloaded, occasionally it trips. When it trips, At that material moment, it was not announced. But ECG has to move in immediately and inform customers that there's been an unscheduled outage. Men are on site trying to resolve it, and so customers or consumers should bear with them. Admittedly, I've reviewed their work, and I'm not satisfied with what I inherited. And so we're going to improve on that. We've already started some work. We've appointed a new MD. We've set up a team. They've come up with a roadmap. And so with the support of colleagues, I look forward to improving the sector further and ensuring that we deliver on our mandate. Thank you very much.
Honorable, we have so many questions. So, yes, Honorable Member for Odotobri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would also like to thank the Honorable Minister for the update. If I heard you correctly, Minister, you attribute the Dumsor or Dum to the fact that ECG still has obsolete or outdated equipment, or whether it's Dumsor or Dumsor or Dum. Yes. What is your ministry doing to address this situation? If the ministry is doing something to address the situation, can you give us some timelines so that we can inform our constituents? Because within the Odotobri enclave, Dumsor is something that we live with. At Jakobu, sometimes the lights go off and it takes days for the lights to come back. I want to believe this is as a result of the obsolete and updated equipment that you mentioned. So please give us some information.
Honorable members, I think we are going in circles, almost the same. Yes, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, like I said, with respect to that specific question, way back in December, they were experiencing what you call Dumsor or Dum, and that is a fact. Even when we asked for a timetable, they told us that we should go and prepare our own timetable. We would not do that. We'll be honest, we'll be sincere, we'll be humble, and when there are challenges, we'll address those challenges. It's true that we inherited a very weakened energy system, and you are right. And I'm sorry that the previous administration couldn't hold what we left them, and as a result, you are going through 1 week of load shedding. But I assure you, under this administration, we will tackle this issue, we will deal with them. Already, the first question that was filed to me, I've assured him that that has been addressed. We will deal with the other issues as we move on. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Okay, briefly, let me give you. It's coming. I'm giving them the opportunity because the question came from Ashanti. That's why I'm giving the Ashanti.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Minister has identified overloading as one of the challenges. However, in Achumampunua, where you have about 538 communities, half of them, as I'm talking to you, their lights are not on. I want to find out from the minister if he has a program to change the transformers that have been overloaded. Thank you.
Yes, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, yes, indeed, our program is to change all obsolete and outdated transformers. But we inherited a situation. When we took over, I visited the Tema Harbor. Mr. Speaker, we have about 3,000 containers stuck at the Tema Harbor. 3,000 containers, most of which contains transformers. Today, as we speak, Mr. Speaker, ECG has a total liability of 13 billion from supplies. demurrage alone, because the transformers have been sitting there, by the end of 2024, demurrage 1.5 billion. Ministry of Energy alone, 6 billion worth of contracts were awarded without commencement certificates. In 2024, their total budget was not up to 2 billion, and yet supplies alone 9.7 billion in 2024. These are facts, Mr. Speaker, and I stand at the dispatch box. I'm obliged to provide facts. And so I agree with you. And so we've set up a committee to investigate these procurement anomalies and breaches. Mr. Speaker, some of the equipment ECG has procured, it will last them 10 years. 10 years. And yet some of the equipment will expire in 5 years. So they've procured equipment that will last them 10 years, but in 5 years, some of those equipment would expire. And so, Mr. Speaker, we've had to take some drastic measures to deal with some of these issues. And so, with assurance, we will get around this, and once we're able to clear those transformers, we shall undertake a massive transformer replacement exercise, and I assure you that your constituency will be top on the list. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honourable members, I think, let me give the final one to, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the minister, in answering his question, admitted to power fluctuation in the Ashanti region. But may I remind the minister that he is not more on this side of the house. And he has been appointed as minister responsible for energy to help stabilize the energy sector. So his continual lamentation is not the reason why he's a minister. Mr. Speaker, my question is that, Mr. Speaker, my question, he admitted to power fluctuation in Ashanti region. Is it the case that he is suggesting that we should, the good people of Ashanti region, for that matter, Swami, should do their own timetable as he has said previously, or he will come with his own timetable so that we can regulate the Dumsor and the Dum?
Yes, John.
Mr. Speaker, it's true that I did say that we inherited a situation of Dumsor. That's a fact. We inherited it. When we took over, Ashanti region was going through massive Dumsor, erratic, inconsistent power supply. But I'm happy to announce that by dint of hard work, we've been able to resolve that situation. And we have commissioned a 145 LVA transformer at Angumaso bulk supply point station. Having injected that major transformer, it means that the situation is significantly improved. And so there will be no need for me to follow my predecessor's way of doing things. No, there will be no need. So you wouldn't publish your own Dumsor timetable. Leave it. The supply of power would improve the system, would provide electricity, and I thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Okay.
Earlier on,
Leader, hold on. Let me turn to Asante Achimdov.
Speaker, thank you very much for acknowledging me. Once again, I want to stand on Order 63, 1, and speak the local language. Mebacho, Speaker Mr. Ayasim Bisa, a question, Pacho. Wadaroma, Asante Achimdov na me free. In fear be brainy, yen can ansem. problem kɛseɛ paa. Mimi wɔ adwuma wɔ kurom hɔ na me radio station wɔ hɔ. Na yɛhwɛ the way a transform nsɛm ɛne mpɛn bebree yɛn kanea ne nyina so me kuromfoɔ no aka kyerɛ me sɛ ɔmo srɛ me me ne ɔpanin nkasa ɛyɛ minister nkasa sɛ bɛyɛ a mfie bebree atwa mu no na Asante Achimnof yɛn kanea nsɛm nyɛ koraa ɛnɛ yi Awurade ayɛ adom yɛnya honorable energy minister ɛwɔ ha honorable energy minister ɛwɔ ha ɛne nti deɛ mesrɛ ne sɛ nka obetumi anya ɛyɛ mpanimfoɔ bi na ɔma ba bɛhwɛ Asante Achimnof nyinaa yɛ transform nsɛm ne yɛn kanea nsɛm ɛwɔ hɔ ɛde aboa yɛn to wait I want to thank you for indulging me. The question I want to pose to the minister today is I want to find out if the honorable minister can be able to help Asante Achimnof get a proper solution, a permanent solution to the lighting problem in my constituency. Most often people complain about the power outages and then also the fact that they complain about the energy problem within my constituency, and so I want to alert the minister to please come to the aid of Asante Achimnof so that the power problems we are having in the constituency will be permanently solved. Thank you very much. I appreciate your contribution. Mr. Speaker, before him, Mr. Speaker, we will.
Yes, Honorable Minister, let me listen to. I'll come to you. I'll give you the opportunity. Let me.
Mr. Speaker, our colleague need to understand the rules. Mr. Speaker, if you read Standing Order 63, Mr. Speaker, and if you indulge me, I'll read Standing Order 63(1). They said, the proceedings of Parliament shall ordinarily be conducted in English language, except that a member may exercise the option to address the House in a local language if facilities exist. If facilities exist for the House, Mr. Speaker, I take it again. 63(1). Proceedings of Parliament shall ordinarily be conducted in English, except that a member may exercise the option to address the House in a local language if facilities exist in the House for the interpretation by the member for contemporaneous interpretation. Mr. Speaker, it's clear violation of our standing orders what he has done. We don't have facilities existing to translate language. You could see that the energy minister attempted speaking Gonja. He has started self. And if we don't regulate and continue this, we will end up speaking different languages that we don't understand, and hence that might not be able to capture, same, or interpret. So, Mr. Speaker, you should overrule him because he's completely out of order. He should ask the question in its proper context so that we can be properly regulated on this.
Thank you.
Completely violating order.
Thank you. I didn't overrule him anyway. Honorable members, I think this issue came the other time. This same gentleman spoke. And I believe we addressed that issue. Honorable members, please, Article 60, Standing Order 63(1), as the Minority Chief Whip, Deputy Whip said, if he may speak in the language that he feels he can. And it goes on to say if there's a facility to actually translate. but then he himself has translated it. The idea is that he said he wanted his people, his constituents, to actually appreciate what he is contributing in the House. So please, whatever it is, I allow him to speak. Let's move on. And Leader, I'm going to ask the minister to respond. And okay, let me hear you.
Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity. Speaker, there's a certain deliberate propaganda out there that members of my side, we can't speak English. There's a certain deliberate propaganda. And let the point be made that we have demonstrated the ability to communicate in English, in the English language, at the highest level. The Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
Leader,
please,
I think
Speaker,
you are going outside the discussion.
Speaker, please permit me. My brother, the first deputy minority whip, did this deliberately because this matter was settled. The standing order 63(1) that he quoted is placing a twist on the interpretation. Yes, you are placing a twist on the interpretation. And Speaker, this is what the provision says. Standing order 63(1) says, the proceedings of Parliament shall ordinarily, Speaker, please, my brother John Daku, please. It says the proceedings of Parliament shall ordinarily be conducted in English, except that a member may exercise the option to address the House in the local language. Speaker,
you go on.
Can you listen to me with some patience and please be quiet. Speaker, my brother has elected to exercise that right to address the House in a local language. The provision proceeds further to say that if facilities exist in the House for interpretation by the member or for contemporaneous interpretation, can you listen? Can you be quiet? This is the facility, Mr. Speaker. This is the facility. Mr. Speaker, the member used this facility to interpret what is said to the hearing of everyone, what is said in the local language. And my brothers on the other side say they have a problem. So this attitude, Mr. Speaker, this attitude of the first deputy minority whip, always stampeding my members when they exercise their right under the law, is unacceptable.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stop.
Thank you.
Honorable members, the member the leave to ask a supplementary question, so the Honorable Minister for Energy and Transitional and Renewable Energy can therefore respond to the question. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, honorable members. Please, I gave him the floor. He took my leave, and I gave him the floor. He spoke the language, and if even the facilities didn't contemporaneously interpreted it, he did the interpretation himself. So for me, he satisfies 61(3). Let's move on. Minister, you may respond to his question.
Yes, because I started in Gonja, but because of time, I just want to assure. I want to assure my honorable colleague, who has distinguished himself in the English language as well as in the local language, that his constituency will be catered for. Thank you.
I think we have done. I can't turn you down, but please, with respect.
With respect, I caught your eye. You signal that I should wait. I'll have the last bite. Speaker, with the greatest of respect, if I may.
No. Are you not the one regulating?
Yes.